Hello, everyone. This is Barbara Iris Alsu of Parental World Knowledge. I'm the founder. Video. Welcome. We're here to do some more watercolor painting. I'm here with Platinos, but he's sound asleep. We were very active today since early this morning. And we had some friends over last night, so he's a little tired out. He had a little excitement to try to get all week, and then it just affected our computer. It did not turn on. I kept doing everything to clean the computer and fix it, and we could not get on. So we had a little crash there. Every now and then it does. If there's been constant not being able to get on, it just crashes our computer. But everything's fine now, and I hope that you have your watercolor paper. It's a canvas paper on a pad. I hope you have this, and you can buy this in an art supply store. See, it comes on a pad, just like regular canvas that has the wooden force, but no wooden force size. It's just flat. And in addition, I hope that you have your watercolor paint, which is non-toxic. I'm sorry if you already heard, all the supplies, but for new people tuning in, I have to go through it. I hope you have an artist sponge. You can put it down and bring it up. Takes the water and the paint off. I hope that you have an artist eraser, so that when you do your line drawing, just the outline of, say, of an apple or whatever it is, in case you make a mistake, you can take the artist eraser and erase a lot better than a regular pencil. Pencils, their erasers tends to dry out, and it just would smudge, and you'd have to do more layers. You do have to do several layers of paint. And when it all dries, and it might even be more, but when it all dries, you put on color pencil. It doesn't have to be from an art supply store, but color pencil, and just don't press hard so that you don't take the paint off, and make it 3D. So it has to be dry completely, and then you use the color pencil. You should have several size brushes, because you have some tight spots and larger spots, and so you're going to want to have only other thing necessary is to have some props if you don't have imagination to draw something, or whatever it is that you want. Maybe you have a live person you could do, or if you're looking at a live building, or whatever it is, that's different. You would need props, but whatever you do with props or someone else's building, you need to redesign. You can't do identical, because it would be stealing. If you're going to use a photograph, which I don't use photographs, but if you want to use a photograph, my suggestion, you have to change it too, because it's still some artist work. With the computer, you can also, if you're not great at drawing, do a printout, and with this printout, you paint over it. So that's definitely legitimate for any art juried shows. I've been entered into shows, and I read that it is definitely acceptable and legitimate. I would question that if I didn't see that, but it is definitely acceptable. And so that's a good thing. So if you're not able to draw, as long as you are able to paint, that's great. So I did New York city skyline, but I mean, you do something you like. You don't have to do what I'm doing, and it will come out better. And just don't worry about it being perfect. Whatever you do, it's your style, and that's all that matters. That you're enjoying it, and other people will be enjoying it also. Even your early works, if with flaws and everything, it's better to people. They desire it and want to buy it because it was your early work. So don't feel that you're thinking, oh, I got to be perfect, I got to be perfect. But people want to see that, a professional master, and then they want to see what they did at first. And I guess it gives them inspiration what they could do. So it's a good thing. Don't worry about how good you do. Just enjoy. And sometimes being too perfect isn't. Made it so perfect from the instructor in France. It was awful. I looked at her work. I thought that was her early work. And I said, gee, you've greatly improved from your early work. And then she says, no, I just went to Paris and I paid to be in Paris for a whole program for 6 months. And she paid many thousands of dollars. And I said, oh my gosh, you really got taken, because this is not. And in addition, you can even dot on if there's a very small area. You don't have to do necessarily brush strokes. All right. So I'm going to move it so you can see the painting. So excuse me while, I'm going to be not so much into the picture. Pulling off even here. I don't know. It's hard, very hard to move this thing. Still, still not the best, but it's all right. And I never did buildings before. This is the first time I'm ever doing a large buildings. I feel it's not going to be perfect, and I don't expect it to be perfect. I never did this. I do landscapes, and I do animals. And for the first time I did a dog, I never did a dog, but I do all different kinds of animals. I mean, that's what I do. And I've never done this. So my thought is just enjoy what my late mother would tell me. And by the way, I did say that I was taking off the other day to talk to a relative concerning, they were trying to make claim of my home because my father passed away. And it's absolutely horrible that they were trying to, they were going to contest. And I spoke to my relative and told them, everything. I tried to talk and tell them in person, but it never worked out. I just kept calling and calling and calling. I felt I didn't want to stop by like my son wanted to do. I didn't think that's a good idea. So I finally spoke to my relative and uh, convinced him, according to what he stated, and I hope he sticks to it. I'm praying that he won't contest things as long as the court states that the will is valid. And already my son went to an attorney, and the attorney went to the court advocate, and they said that the will is valid. It's just, it didn't say executor on it. That's why all this grief I was receiving from this relative. He knew that it didn't say that. I told him it didn't say it. And that was the tie-up. I had to hire an attorney to handle things without having to say executor on my late father's will to me. And we had a note. It's just, I believe that everything will be resolved. I'm thinking positive thoughts. That's what my brother said, my relative said, and we just have to go to court and present the will that my late father gave. And the thing is, if you have a problem like this, all I can say is you didn't have the funds, and really I didn't, but I would have, if I knew retrospect what was going to happen, I definitely would have somehow saved up and gone to an attorney. It didn't cost as much as I thought, and it would have been, so much less expensive than what I have to pay now. The second thing, have your attorney go to the court advocate and present it so that you could see, that the will and acceptable, and that you could tell the other party if there's one involved, and not to, be aggravated by all this. I was so aggravated and so shocked because I cared for my parents as a nurse for all my adult life. And my other relative didn't. Not at all. Not one day. So I'm very thankful, grateful things worked out. I would hate, for there to be no peace and not be able to see that part of my family. And if my father had more to leave, he would have definitely left other relatives. He didn't. He lived almost 96 years, took care of my mom with cancer for 25 years. There was just no, and even with me contributing, there was no way that he had more to leave. He wanted to. And I did find an earlier will that was handwritten. And I'm thankful that I did. And I did mention that the other day. And so there was the recent one and the one from before. And I'm grateful I found it. And it just expresses the same thing, but it had one change. It just said, the first one, in the event of my death, that it would go to a certain family member. But my father changed it with the recent one, because in the first one, he stated that as long as you take care of my son with finances. And then he thought about it, and he just said, why have a chance that something will happen that, there'll be a conflict and he won't care about taking care of my son. So he just took off the fact that he would leave it to that relative. And that was wise, because look what happened. This relative wanted to take my home from me. They forced me to sell it and split it, and not even concerned about my son, who's still living with me, because he just recently graduated from college. He doesn't have the finances to live on his own. So he didn't care, just says, let him get his own place. And I said, he can't afford it. So it didn't matter, it didn't matter. And my father was right. He changed that will. So it's a good thing to change a will if you have a doubt about something. And he did. He perceived what was about to occur. I don't know how he knew, but he knew. And another thing was my idea to do a grant with the town, and for windows and the roof for senior citizens to do. So my father did it as a senior, and I got the free grant. And it was in my name too. So they lost the paperwork, but I have a witness if I needed to testify. So I told him that too. And that was my former boss, and I know that if I asked her, she would testify. She was the notary, so she would come forth and do that. And secondly, besides that, the grant would have to be paid back if he's executor, or even co-executor. He would, he's selling the house, decides to sell the house, forces me to sell it. It would have been that we had to pay it back, the grant. So that's a significant amount. And the house is in need of repair, so it would be really not that much that he would get his half of the house if sold, because that big grant would have been taken from whatever we made on the sale of the house. Plus, the house would not be sellable until we did the work. Nobody's going to want to buy it. You don't fix up There's necessary things. So he, he realizes there would be so little left. Rent out for low-income housing, and that makes a lot of sense. You know, 1,000 per month for preferably senior citizens. You know, but I mean, it could be youth too. But you know, I want to know. I mean, they're not going to be making a lot of noise, disturbing everybody that's living here. So I just felt, you know, seniors would be better, you know, with me. And so that's everything. Thank God. I was praying, and I'm still praying. Worked out. And, you know, like I said, you have to go to the advocate. You need to, you know, sit down and look for everything, any wills, additional wills, and in addition, look for any bills that, you know, have to be deducted if you sell the house. So, you know, that played into convincing him. And the fact that since I took a grant with my late father while he, you know, while he was alive, he was entitled and I was entitled to get additional grants. So I could get an additional grant. And so that would do the rest of the repair on the house. So, you know, this is great. And so by staying in the house, it's a benefit. It's a real benefit to fix it up. It just doesn't make sense to go into selling a house if you don't have it completely fixed. It's really stupid. Really stupid. So it made a lot more sense for my relative to realize, you know, that this should not be sold. This should be fixed and rented, low income renting. And I would enjoy people. I mean, I miss my father terribly. I would enjoy company. I have my dog, and he's wonderful, wonderful companion. He's well behaved usually, and a delight. People would love to see this dog. I mean, he's friendly to everybody. So, but the thing is, you know, I like people too, and I would want people here because my son will soon move out, and you know, it will be lonely without my son. Oh, what do I need a whole big house, you know? Don't need a whole big house by myself. And I don't really want to move. I really like my town. I've been here almost all my life, and it has many, you know, great memories mostly. Well, I hope nobody goes through the nightmare I was going through, and it had exhausted me. I mean, you know, as much as I said, let God do most of the worrying, it still was that little worry was very, very consuming. Now, this is the second layer I'm doing on the beige. I have to do more than several layers because it's buildings. Because it has to be strong. It can't be faded, the colors for a building. Can't be wishy-washy. We just bought a basket, that hangs on the wall, and you can put your fresh fruit, like, bananas and whatever else, avocados, because they have to be riper. You're not supposed to eat them when they're hard, and so certain fruits you need to keep out of the refrigerator, have it ripen. And it's neat because it's not right on the counter, it's not in your way when you're cooking, and it's good, out of the way, up in this basket. So I'm going to be putting that up probably today, and I'm really excited that we have that. And then we bought a grinder so that if you have like whole spice and herbs, that it grinds it up. That's very good, because it costs more, to get things grounded. And why should you spend that when you can have a container that grinds it up for you? It's a little container, and you just put it in, and 1, 2, 3, it grinds it up. A lot less expensive. You buy the one time paying for that, and then it grinds it up for you. You can put anything in there, coffee perfectly. Doesn't get stuck. It's great. And we bought I mentioned on LinkedIn that we bought this spinner for salad. But you leave it in the spinner. It's a plastic container. You leave it in there in the refrigerator. It goes bad fast. So we bought a special container which keeps the salad longer, and it's amazing. So now our salad's going to last longer. I mean, we need the spinner to get the water off because the salad, it gets wilted, being in too much water. But it's still not keeping it fresh enough. It just spins the water off, which makes it crisper and fresher, but it doesn't have a long life. So now it has a long life because we bought this special container. So that's a great thing to get for your home. And we have like these crisper things in the refrigerator. I mentioned in an earlier show. They're look like little apples, and you it has this crisper thing in it to make your vegetables fresher in your vegetable bin. That's great. It's also great. So I'm so excited, that we got all different things that are helping us with our kitchen. It looks a lot better with the two coats. You see how it can look so much neater and cleaner when you put the extra coats on. I mean, you can't have thin watercolor that you can see through and see your pencil marks, and I've seen showings with that, and I've mentioned that before. And I can't believe that people would be so lazy to just do it and not cover up the pencil marks and have it in a showing. Just don't complete their work. And it's horrible. It's horrible to say it's completed when you see pencil marks. So make sure you go over enough layers so you're not going to see your pencil marks. If you have to turn the paper, when you're working, turn the paper, and always start with light colors first, as I'm doing the light color first. So. And if anyone wants to come to our show to be on it live, you have to be 18 or more. That's Google Hangout rules. Call us at 973. You can call us 9 to 5, Monday through Sunday, not during the show. Oh, yeah, there was one more thing. I was just so tired from all the discussion I had over the last few days with my relative. Kept trying to reach out and finally talk to my relative in person, um, instead of just leaving messages. So at any rate, if he was to bring a frivolous lawsuit, and it is frivolous, my attorney said he's a specialist in estates, he would have to pay my lawyer's fee. So that was the clincher too, besides everything else I said. In fact, he'd have to pay my fees, and my fees could go, if he did contesting, up to $30,000 with this attorney. So it would be insane. He wouldn't be. This house, like I said, is not sellable right now, and in an event that somebody, it would be really somebody crazy to buy this if in this condition, and be so low that we sell it for. All those fees coming off, it would be nothing really he'd be getting to go through all that and have to pay my lawyer fees. So he'd be a fool. He'd be a fool to take a chance. He's going to lose, and he'd be a fool. So that was another thing. Good thing, we got a great specialist, because I didn't know these things before. Yeah, if I knew these things, I wouldn't have been bothered by him, So I wish I knew all that prior. Didn't know. But this has been going on since hospice, all this aggravation. when my father was in hospice. All the facts. And I wish that my father had more than he could have left, and would have been relatives' kids help with their bills from college, and so you'd be helping my relative that he doesn't have to pay it, and we'd have more money to live on. So, I put that in writing in an email. I'm saying it now on the show, and there was no reason for him to be doing this, as I stated that I was intending on doing. And stand to get so much more by allowing me to stay in this home and rent out the 3 rooms in a year and a half. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy that with all of the repair, I don't think the house would sell. And if it did, it'd be so little. And it just doesn't make sense. So much more could be gained. And by staying in my home and renting out the rooms. And that's it. Always squeeze from the bottom like toothpaste if you're white. As I said, you have to get a liquid white, and it's like toothpaste basically, where you have to squeeze from the bottom. Right now I'm squeezing the paint out a little more. So I just put a little more white. I had white and brown, so it made beige. I just wanted it a little lighter. It might still even be a little teeny bit lighter. I was out with my dog for over an hour today, and he didn't make it. It was so freezing cold. The wind was blowing so fierce. I decided I'm going to go inside my door, and I have a long extended chain, and just let my puppy run around till he makes, because I couldn't take it any longer. I'm a senior, and so I did the smart thing because I was freezing. I can't do it. So 2 hours he was still trying to make. He finally made after 2 hours. Big heavy scarf. I had a hat on, wool hat, pulled all the way down over my ears. I had a sweater on, another scarf underneath. And I can't. I'm not used to this weather. It has never been this cold in West Orange, New Jersey, and windy. So all those dog, walkers. Look, let the dog. You're walking the dog for an hour. It's fine. And you need to go in by your door and just have a long, this leash. It's a retractable leash, so it goes out and it doesn't hurt the door. It closed still, my glass door. I pulled. I didn't want the door to fling open, so I even put the lock on the glass door, and he was able to go and walk himself. He's old enough now. He's 8 months, and he's going to be 2 weeks this Sunday. So why not? And he was able to. First, he didn't want to. He was in. I said, "You're staying out there till you make." And I said, "Make fast," but he didn't. And it was snowing a little today, so it was really, really cold. Not heavy snow, but it was light snow. And it was freezing. I tell you, for a senior to be out in this weather, it's not good. So you do, hopefully, you don't have what I have, but if you do, this is an island puppy. He's outside like I did in good weather. I'd say an hour or two, but I can't do this in this kind of weather. You shouldn't either. You get pneumonia, you do that. So I'm smart. I can't. I'm not going through this. I am not going through this. Insane. It's just insane to have to have a puppy in this kind of weather. So, and I love my puppy dearly, and he brings me great joy. And just once in a while, because to being on his own and making what he wants. But last night he made like in 11 minutes, both 1 and 2. So, he's getting there, but not all the time, not consistently. So, like I said, go inside. Don't freeze. I'm not going to freeze. Puppies, they have to be trained, and I have a training cage. If he doesn't make, I put him in the training cage. I never did before, but I've said this in earlier shows that I had to for this island puppy. He was not trained whatsoever. And I tell him that he's not being punished if he didn't make, but he has to be in for at least 20 minutes. And then he learns. He doesn't make on the floor. If you didn't go outside, make 1 and 2, put him in the cage. And I said, look, you're just going to be 20 minutes. And then I soon take him out again. But he needs to be in that training cage. But when I do let him out, he won't make on the floor. And it's worked. If anyone has it in their heart to have a pet, and especially have children, it's wonderful to have a pet. Find it in your heart to go to your local shelter, adopt a pet. It's such a lovely thing to have a pet and get all this love and to give all the love. And take your whole family when you go to the shelter, because this way you're sure that everyone gets along with the pet you're selecting. And don't just get a pet and not be sure that the pet is suitable for your family. remember, if you put too much water or paint, you always can take your sponge. You don't have to worry. Well, I pray a miraculous healing prayer for everyone, for peace, good spirit, good strength, good health. Amen. Amen. Energy scan. We have a special till Valentine's Day, February 14th, for only $22. And what that is will increase your focus, as you just pinpoint what the problem is, whether it be physical or a mental problem, and we just heal it quickly, as we're pinpointing exactly what the problem is. And we're praying to God, 100% God heals. Now, you also, besides gaining more focus, will have more energy. So, energy scan is a great thing to do. And Daniel Hanneman was the person that invited me to a free webinar, and I learned all about it from the master. And he's just terrific. Academy of Invincible has a great academy for anyone that wants to be a certified. So I'm just thrilled that, I had that free training, and now I am so much better than I was before in what I could do. I would touch someone's shoulder and do a prayer healing, but now having that energy scan, I'm able to pinpoint right away what's wrong and resolve it quicker. And help you have more focus and more energy. So, win situation all around. Well, I hope everyone has a good day or a good night, depending on where you are in the world. And I thank you for tuning in and telling people about our show. It's greatly appreciated. And you have a lovely weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Doing more water. And thank you so much. I just want to appreciate that you tune in. I appreciate that you refer people. And please continue and have a really lovely weekend, everyone. Enjoy your painting. Continue doing and experimenting and learning. Keep watching us and even go to the library if you don't have books on great artists, master artists. Don't copy from them, but learn from them. And there's so much to do in learning from books, and also go to museums. Try to go to the art museums. It's a wonderful source of inspiration also. Okay, I hope that we keep inspiring you and you keep up with your great work. All right, bye now.